The three-row SUV market is absolutely blooming. And well, the Ultraverse, while it was fine, it just didn't do really well. This, well, it's fully updated and there's a lot to love. Hello, my name is Jimmy, and as mentioned, this is the fully updated 2024 Chevy Traverse. Here in the top RS trim, it's sportier than the others. You can also get a Z71 off-road trim, which I absolutely love. But, well, it's a people mover really, so let's go inside and see what's what. First off, let's take a look at that third row. Getting access is not hard. There's a button right here on the side, and you're able to just push that out of the way. For the third row, it's actually not too bad in here. With the second row seats pushed a little bit forward, I got enough space for myself at 5'11". Headroom is actually decent as well. The only kind of negative is, well, just the view out. In front is okay, that's kind of normal. But just on the sides, these pillars are very large. Just makes it a little bit more cramped than it should be. But I do like, well, that you get vents right on top. Getting out is also easy because there's a button right here that can release the second row. As for the second row itself, once bounced back, you can get in easily. The doors open like 90 degrees, makes, well, entry just a lot easier. Space is plentiful. You can move the seats fore and aft with this little handlebar here on the bottom. And yeah, you can really stretch out in here. Being the top trim, I do get heated seats and climate control back here. But that's really it. You don't get privacy shades on the side, cool seats or massaging seats or anything like that. It is a Chevy after all. But it is actually a really good family vehicle because, well, I am a child passenger safety technician and I do want to show you exactly how car seats fit inside. The Traverse itself, you get two sets of lower anchors, one on the driver's side and passenger side here in the second row, but nothing in the third row. Upper anchors, you do get 5 across all 5 seats here. As for fitting rear-facing seats, I had no problems fitting my Kleck Foof in here. Plenty of space within the cabin for that. Forward-facing seats, of course, no issues. As for the third row, unfortunately, a rear-facing seat or an infant carrier, there just isn't enough space for that. But when they grow up a little bit, forward-facing seats do fit back there. But let's move up front. As for the front seats, these are, well, actually quite well padded. They are quite wide with not much side-to-side support, which is pretty typical in this class. The seats themselves, they are heated and cooled, but you don't get massaging or anything like that. You do get your typical Chevy steering wheel in front of you with your heated steering wheel. And because this does have Super Cruise, you do get that bar on the top. Behind that is a very nice digital cluster. It shows you a lot of info, quite configurable with different pages and layouts. I do quite like that. No heads-up display, but you do get like a flashing red light if something was to go wrong. And of course, your main infotainment here, ultra-wide display that spans the entire mid-length here. You do get a dedicated volume button, which does show you the volume. Kind of cool. The system itself, you do get wireless CarPlay, Android Auto. It is powered by Google Automotive, so you get all the apps that you typically would get, Alexa and so forth. It's a quite easy to use system, but like many newer Chevys, they just move a lot of those buttons inside the infotainment. So the light switch, for example, is built in. I don't mind that. I never hit the light switch anyways, but the one that I do use is like the 360 camera. It has a good 360 cam, but unfortunately, I just have to dive into a menu to get that. I hit control and then camera. It's just an extra step, whereas, well, other manufacturers just has a button somewhere within the dash here. Overall, it's quite nice in here. I mean, soft touch dash, the side cards, even the middle console here, this is all soft touch. It's, well, much better than the, let's be honest, rental kind of car quality that old Chevys had. This is definitely something I can appreciate. Power comes from a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. The V6 is gone. 328 horsepower and 326 pound-feet of torque through an 8-speed automatic and all-wheel drive. It does have that rackety 4-cylinder kind of sound to it. I mean, it's pretty typical for a 4-cylinder. It gets worse when it's cold or if you're a little bit harder on the throttle. However, for day-to-day driving, it shouldn't be that noticeable. It's quiet enough on the highways where, well, road noise and other noise kind of drowns it out anyways. So you shouldn't really have that much problems with it. As for the drive itself, pretty typical of this class. It's firm enough where you're not just sloshing all over the place, but it's definitely not like sporty or anything like that. It's still a very comfortable ride for everyone that's in here. It is a very good, well, kind of cross-country or road trip type vehicle. I mean, thanks to Super Cruise, life just gets so much easier on the highway. You just enable it and, well, hands-off driving really, right? You just let it do its thing, let it drive, and you are basically just in the back seat. You're just a passenger within the vehicle. You're just letting the technology take over for you. There's nothing wrong with it. Super Cruise works well, so I actually don't mind it. The L button that's on the steering wheel, it's a little bit different. That enables low gear, but what it really does is, in combination with the paddles that's behind the wheel, you basically get to select the highest gear that the transmission will go. It's a little different. So like when you're driving around in auto drive right now, well, the paddles do absolutely nothing. And don't hit the volume and tuning buttons that's just below it. But those paddles, they just don't do anything until you hit L, and then you can then control the gears that it's going to go through. Aspect here, it's basically 66,000 Canadian dollars. You can get into a Traverse for 51,000 Canadian. It's cheaper than the Honda Pilot, which is one of its biggest competitors. And to be honest, the Pilot doesn't really have much going for it other than the brand name being reliable, right? And that's really it. So would you get a Traverse? Why consider a Traverse? Well, it's actually a very large SUV, and with it, you just get a ton of space. The Z71, that's a package that, well, not a lot of other manufacturers offer in terms of like actual off-road performance, because it does come with skid plates. It's not just an appearance package. I mean, the Trail Sport and the Pilot, some would say it has some kind of like off-road bits and pieces, and I'm sure it can, but the Z71 just seems like it can go a little bit further with what it's capable of. If what you see here isn't fancy enough for you, of course you can go with the GMC Acadia, or even step up to the Buick Enclave. For some reason, the XT6 didn't get updated, and it's not getting updated for 2025 neither. So maybe in 2026, or maybe they're just killing that off. In any case, as a package, it's still really well-rounded. You got all the bits and pieces that you really need in a family SUV. And, well, that's really it. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you next time while the vehicle does more driving for me. Take care.